Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today we are doing the annual Pokemon Presents predictions video. Though I want to clarify before we go into this, I'm going to cover a lot of stuff in this video, and while I think pretty much everything I'm going to talk about is totally possible and even reasonable to expect in tomorrow's Pokemon Presents, I don't think it's all going to happen at once, right? Pokemon is in a pretty interesting spot right now with the start of Gen 9, where the slate is pretty much wiped clean. We don't know much in terms of spin-offs or extra projects other than Detective Pikachu, which we'll get to, and Pokemon Sleep, which we'll also get to. So we really don't know what to expect. The spin-off pipeline's been a little weird. Obviously, we know we're going to get DLC. So it's a really interesting place that Pokemon is in, and I'm excited to see what they do have to show us, because this is actually going to be a pretty packed Pokemon Presents. It's going to be around 25 minutes, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, makes it the longest Pokemon Presents we've ever had. I was looking at recent years at the very least. In 2021, we had one for Pokemon Day, for the reveal of Diamond and Pearl remakes, as well as Pokemon Legends Arceus, 2 mainline games, and that was only 20 minutes. This Pokemon Presents is going to be 25 minutes. So I feel like it's going to be a pretty big show, or they're just going to talk about the history of the franchise again for like 10 minutes, which they sometimes like to do. It's always kind of hit or miss with these, but I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling like it's going to be a pretty packed show. So let's go ahead and talk about what I think we could, or even maybe probably will, see tomorrow. Let's get into it. All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. This Presents was announced a few days ago, but I decided to wait until the day before, so it'd be a little bit more relevant in the old YouTube oil machine here, the algorithm. There is a lot to talk about here, so we're just gonna go ahead and start getting through it. There's some very obvious stuff, some maybe a little bit less obvious stuff. The most obvious thing that we are 110% getting is Scarlet and Violet DLC. Now, I believe there's been some data mining and some more rumoring surrounding this, even past what was there in the base game with the most recent patch. We know we're getting DLC. There's a very obvious area of the map in Paldea in the top right of the region. Whether or not it'll be like Kalos DLC like some people are saying, I don't know about that. I think there was something with Mega Evolution in the game's code or something. I have no idea if it's going to be Kalos, but there's obviously going to be all DLC. Now, I've been saying since this game came out, Scarlet and Violet, of course, that I don't think it's going to be 2 DLCs like Sword and Shield was. Specifically, mostly based on the fact that it's just that one region on the map. They could split that up into 2 waves, but I get the feeling it's just going to be one big DLC that we'll see in probably like June or July. I don't think they're going to wait until the end of the year, which we'll get to. I mean, they could. We'll see. But yeah, just one major big DLC, and that'll probably be about it for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet support. Now, they could go the 2-wave route like Sword and Shield, but I don't know. I know for me personally, that kind of took some oomph out of the Isle of Armor, because I knew Crown Tundra was going to be better. It was. So I would personally prefer if they just did one big wave of DLC that added all of their ideas that they wanted to add that they couldn't get into the base game. But we'll see. That is like the main guarantee thing. We are 110% getting Scarlet and Violet DLC. The other main guarantee thing is mobile stuff. We always get a ton of mobile updates in these Pokemon Presents. I'm talking Pokemon Master Sex, I'm talking Pokemon Unite, Cafe Remix, all of those things will certainly get updates. However, there's one mobile game that is not released yet that I wanted to talk about. I alluded to at the start of the video, Pokemon Sleep. Now, normally I want to bring this up because it's been almost 4 years since Pokemon Sleep was revealed, and it's obviously been MIA since then. I don't know if this is like real, but if you type in PokemonSleep.com, it does redirect to the Pokemon Presents page, or like the hub for it on Pokemon's website. I don't know if maybe someone else owned PokemonSleep.com and it's just a little goof and a little gaff. But if so, we'll probably be seeing Pokemon Sleep finally. I have no idea if it's going to be the same as what we saw back in 2019. Will it still have the Pokemon Go++, whatever it was called, the little button that you sleep next to? But if that is all true, we'll probably be seeing Pokemon Sleep. So that'll be interesting. In terms of new mobile game announcements, personally, I don't really want to see anything from that. I'm very jaded now, and I'm tired of all these Pokemon mobile games. Stuff like Pokemon Sleep, that's a little different. It's more like an app and experience. But like Unite and Cafe Remix and Pokemon Master Sex, like I said, I don't know, man. I'm kind of over it. There's too many Pokemon mobile games going on at once. What I want to see, and this goes into our next thing, is a major Pokemon spinoff, like a retail $60 beefy Nintendo Switch Pokemon spin-off game. Now, once again, there's a couple routes that could go here. Detective Pikachu 2 would make the most sense, technically, because it's already announced, and I do think it would probably be about time that we see that. But I feel like we could maybe go a little bit further. I feel like we might go a little bit longer without seeing that game. Instead, I think it's more likely that we either get a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, which In 2020, we had the remake of Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team on the Switch, Mystery Dungeon Deluxe, whatever they called it. I feel like those games are just consistent. They're probably not too costly to make from Spike Chunsoft, so getting another one of those out, be a new game or a remake of Explorers of Darkness and Sky or something along those lines, just makes a lot of sense. I personally won't be too excited for that specifically, but any retail Pokemon game that's not mobile free-to-play stuff, I'm gonna be there to support, because God, has it been dry these past 6 years. We got Pokken Tournament Deluxe, new Pokemon Snap, which was the last major spinoff, which was over 2 years ago now, or just about 2 years. We're definitely overdue. So whether or not it's Mystery Dungeon, whether or not it's Detective Pikachu, I do think we are definitely due for some sort of major spinoff, maybe even 2, I would say isn't super unlikely. You know, they could announce one and it could come out in 3 months and then have another one that comes out like next year, that kind of thing. But some sort of major retail, not free-to-play spinoffs for Pokemon, we are sorely missing that. Even maybe like a eShop only game, like a Rumble game that's not mobile, I'd be okay with that. Bring back the little NFC figures from Pokemon Rumble U, please. That'd be fantastic. But just something from like a core established Pokemon spinoff franchise, or a new idea entirely, you know? Just something that's not free to play, please. That's what I want to see here. The next thing that everybody has been talking about, and it's what I put in the thumbnail because I thought I was going to be unique and talk about this, but then people made their predictions videos and I realized it's the most cookie cutter prediction hope ever. NSO, I really, this is such an obvious win for the Pokemon Company. I don't really think they're going to do it, and what I'm alluding to is putting Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and maybe even the GBA games on Nintendo Switch Online. Of course, in the February Direct that we got a few weeks ago, they added Game Boy and Game Boy Advance to Nintendo Switch Online and the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. It's such an obvious win to put those mainline Pokemon games on the Switch. We know we're getting a Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color. I think we might know we're getting Ruby and Sapphire Pinball. I think I'm making that one up. And we know we're getting Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. Those were already announced for Switch Online, and they aren't out yet. So at the very least, we'll be seeing those, I imagine, dropped just on the service. It's been a while since we had a new N64 game added, so Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, I feel like that's a lock. But in terms of those mainline Pokemon games, if they're going to do it, we'll probably just get Red, Blue, and Yellow, I would imagine, and Green in Japan. But man, that would make this thing for me. You know, as much as I want to see some more new stuff, having those older Pokemon games on the Switch available as part of a subscription service, which I'm already paying for, so it'd basically be free. It's unlike the Pokemon Company to do that. It is like dream tier worthy. They would find a way to make us pay for it again, I feel like. But a guy can hope, you know. It is more likely that we'll just keep getting more spin-offs from them, which is cool too, you know. I'm not gonna discredit that or anything. But man, if they could get mainline Pokemon on there, the main question would be how can they get it to work with Pokemon Home? But that's for them to figure out, and for me to sit there and enjoy. You know, I'm the end consumer. I just want to play, you know, Fire Red on my Switch. So as incredible as that would be, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. If it does, though, like I said, just an announcement for Red, Blue, and Yellow and Green. That'd probably be about the extent of it. Of course, at that point, you can kind of assume that we'd get the other ones eventually. If that happens, we definitely are going to get the rest, at least on the Game Boy, Gold, Silver, Crystal. But we'll have to wait and see. Bare minimum, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, and maybe some talk of trading card game for Game Boy, though I feel like that's probably a few more months off. So, NSO updates, it will be mentioned. I'm just not sure to what extent. That is my dream here, though. That is like the main thing I would like to see. So, we'll see how that goes. And then the final thing I want to talk about that no one is talking about, because no one, for some reason, thinks it's possible, is a new mainline game. I know. The current state of Pokemon is that they're rushing out games too fast, and they need to slow down, and we still have DLC for Scarlet and Violet. Why would they announce a new game? Why wouldn't they? You know, back in 2021, or yeah, 2022 even, I was saying Gen 9. There's been some revisionist history here, people telling me I'm crazy for saying this. No one expected Gen 9. I was there saying Gen 9 was going to happen at the end of 2021. Before Legends of Arceus came out, I said, Pokemon Day this year, we are getting Gen 9. And we did. I've also been saying this year that we'll get a new mainland Pokemon game, because, especially after Scarlet and Violet, it's been proven to not matter, the quality of the games they release. Who would develop it? Who knows? I don't think Game Freak is anywhere near ready to release another game. That didn't stop them from releasing Scarlet and Violet. But I don't think it'd be Game Freak. It'd be like a remake from Ilka or something along those lines, another third party. I think they recently said they have to work with more developers to keep releasing games. So some sort of mainline Pokemon game I do think is going to be announced here. I've been saying it's going to come out this year. I don't know if I'm quite so bullheadish on that anymore. But I do think one will be announced here and probably released in early 2024 if it doesn't come out this year. Not Gen 10, obviously. It'd be, you know, Black and White Remix or a new Legends game or something new entirely. This is the longest Pokemon Presents we've ever had. And it's not an anniversary year. That's really weird. You know, like I said at the top of the video, they might do one of those history retrospectives that they love doing in these things. Or maybe they'll just really deep dive into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLC and some spin-offs. But for 25 minutes, you know, in 2021, we got to see new Pokemon Snap, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus in one event. That was 20 minutes. Maybe I'm looking too much into the length of this thing, and I mean, I was saying new mainline game before the length of this was announced, but 25 minutes for no new mainline game, that seems a little weird to me. I don't know. I haven't really seen people talking about this. I think people are in denial a little bit, because they don't want to see another Rush game, but the reality is, money. So I don't know what this is. It's supposed to be me rubbing bills, but I don't know. So yeah, I think a new mainline game is, I'm not gonna say a lock, but I do think it's possible, especially if what I said ends up being true, and that Scarlet and Violet's DLC is one major pack and it releases around the June-July point of the year, which is what I'm personally hoping for. You know, disregarding any other potential, you know, mainline game this year, I would just like to see one major DLC instead of two broken up ones, like Sword and Shield had. So a new mainline game, I do think is, I think it's definitely possible, especially once again with that length of this presentation, 25 minutes. That's weird. That's weird. You know, I can't shake the feeling that something ain't right here. I truly don't think it's time for Black and White remakes, and I don't really think there's any chance there's a new Legends Arceus game coming out or a new Legends style game. But I don't know, man. Why did they release? Why did they release 3 games in 12 months? Why would they do that if they didn't have a game this year, you know? Everything could have been pushed back. And you can say, oh, it's because of the anime. That doesn't even matter anymore. The card game doesn't matter. The theory that Pokemon releases new generations as a marketing machine for the card game and the anime, that is all dead. That is all gone. The anime is gone. The card game can do whatever the hell it wants. The only argument would be new plush, but they mostly sell Pikachu and Eevee anyway. They can just make new little Valentine's Day outfits for them, and then they sell anyway. So I don't think they're releasing games to keep up with the marketing and the rest of the franchise as a whole. I think they're just releasing new games because they want to release new games and make a lot of money from the game itself. So I am definitely rambling at this point, but I do think a new mainline game is totally possible here. I'm, once again, not saying it's a lock, but I would not be surprised, you know, let's put it that way. Maybe it won't be released this year, but early 2024, we know they're not prone to doing that now with Legends Arceus coming out in January of 2022. I definitely think it's possible. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you expect to see from this Pokemon Presents 2023 edition? I do kind of like the rhythm they have here, just every year, no matter what, we get this, even if there's nothing to talk about, they just do it anyway. Of course, I will be back here tomorrow morning with a reaction as well as a discussion, if it's interesting, which I assume it will be, talking about everything we saw. So subscribe here so you don't miss that, and until next time, thank you so much for watching. Of course, you can also follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Bye-bye!